Hey everybody, Marty Mazzura. I want to spend a few more minutes with you on this topic of outsourcing. I'm going to draw you a picture. It's going to look something like other pictures, but I think it's important to do one just for this topic. In my article, I talk about Bain Capital and camshafts and jobs lost in Michigan, jobs gained in China. But for my illustration, since I don't know what camshafts, can't talk today, camshafts cost. That's an Apple, by the way. I do know, obviously, since this is an iPad that I'm writing on, I do know, that's me, I do know what an iPad costs, and it's about $800. I read somewhere once that if it were made in the U.S., it would cost an estimated $1,200. It's an important tool for me, so I would have spent the $12, but because I didn't, I spent $8. I have $400 in surplus, and this might look familiar. And that's me allocating that money to other places, for other goods and services right here in the U.S., thus creating employment in the U.S. with my surplus. Also, as I've illustrated before, U.S. dollars that we allocate abroad are U.S. dollars, so they come back. There are exporters here in the U.S. that exist to capture that money as it comes back, and of course they hire people as well. So again, we cost some jobs when we outsource, trying to gain some jobs, but how we gain big time in the process. Couple of wrinkles I want to add to this conversation. The whole outsourcing of jobs, of course, as we know in Apple's situation, they build those in China and they send them back home. But what about that Chinese market? What about those 1.3 billion human beings who enjoy technology just as much as we do? I would advocate that Apple has some great stuff, and that the Chinese people, I'm sure, want it just as much as we do. But would it make any sense whatsoever for Apple to have manufacturing here in the U.S. to send it all the way across the water to China at that expense? Of course not. If they can build it right there so much less expensively, so much more efficiently to provide for that market, absolutely they should do that. Which makes me think of Japan and Toyota. As you may know, Toyota has manufacturing plants dotted all over the United States, supporting a whole lot of U.S. jobs. And they do that because it makes perfect sense for them, they've determined, to build some of those cars right here in the U.S. To serve this market without having to transport them clear across the water as well. So indeed, it does work in both ways. So folks, what we always see here is what the politician wants us to focus on, because that's easy. We see the job lost, as is the case in the Michigan and the camshaft jobs. But what we don't see is all of this other productivity that's gained when we can do things smartly and in the most cost-effective manner. And whenever the politician gets in the way, make no mistake, they do so on behalf of a select few at the expense of you and I and all the other consumers who then consequently are paying more just to provide for that particular friend of the politician. Another little wrinkle I want to add, folks, and I will post an article I wrote about a year ago, I think, where I cited some statistics that suggested that 88.5% of the money we spend stays right here in the U.S., which is a huge surprise to a lot of people. In fact, and I do want you to please read that article. It's a short one, but I start out with a pair of sneakers made in China and talk about how much of that cost, of that $70 in my example, actually stays here in the U.S. In fact, for a few weeks after posting that article, I actually paid attention to where I and my family spends our money. In fact, that first night we went to a college basketball game and paid for parking and popcorn and all those other goodies and didn't spend a dime on anything that I could identify came from anywhere other than the U.S. In fact, I think it was days later, and I think it was a bag of grapes that were grown in Chile or something, but I found out over the course of a few weeks and paying attention that indeed that was true, at least in my particular instance. Now, if you doubt that, you might do that experiment on your own. I'd be interested to hear if you don't concur after you check your own spending out over a period of time. So, folks, I'm thinking I can leave it there. I think I'll post again my 2-minute video on subsidies. I think that complements this nicely. Actually, one other thing does come to mind, and that's actually this technology itself. As I said, I think the iPad is a very important tool for me. It makes me more efficient, makes my business more efficient. What technology brings to the investment consulting business and the programs and everything that we have available to us We do employ several people, but we could not come near providing the quality of what we provide without this technology, without a substantially greater labor expense. We would have to employ several more people to come anywhere near what we can do now. So you could argue that technology costs U.S. jobs. But anymore, you don't see people protesting against the Apples and the HPs and the IBMs of the world. And I would suggest that when a company outsources labor to a more efficient area, they're really not doing anything different than you are in your own life. Particularly if you're a business owner, when you employ the latest technology, which ultimately saves on labor costs. But don't feel bad about that, because it frees up resources to invest and to move the economy along at the right pace, and to create jobs where the economy really demands they be created. And once again, folks, when the politician gets in the way, that's when we compromise not only economic growth, but probably most importantly our personal liberty as well. So look for the link to this article. It'll be above this. And take 2 minutes and watch that subsidies video once again. And thanks for all your time. I hope this helps. Take care.